Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we'll be going over the Mavin Analytics Super Bowl Challenge data set. Wow, that's a mouthful. So I like going over the Mavin Analytics data sets because it gives you guidelines or recommended analysis of insights you should find solutions to. So here is the Super Bowl commercial, and the Super Bowl, let me just briefly read this. Super Bowl commercials for 10 popular brands from 2000 to 2021, including links to each and additional information about the length, estimated cost, YouTube statistics, TV viewers, and defining characteristics. So here are the recommended analysis. There are about 4 of them, and I have already downloaded the data. This is the preview of the data. I have it in Excel. It comes in a CSV form. So let's start. Here's the data. First of all, I would check if there are duplicates. So there are no duplicates. Next, I would make a copy of this data so that I have this one as a backup in case I mess it pretty bad. Instead of going back to download, I will just use this. Or going back to my downloads, I'll just use this. So I've copied it, and I'm going to paste it here. Next, I would open up the columns. Just put this here. And so you notice that some brands have more adverts in a year than others, like this E-Trade. Here, it had the monkey dance advert and money out of the wazoo advert, all in 2000. So I would want to delete these 2 columns because they won't be of any use to me. Okay, let me go back to the Mavin and find out what my first analysis is, which brand has had the most Super Bowl commercials, and do they have a distinct style? I would put my data into a table to better perform analysis on them. Yes, it has headers. Now that it's in a table, I'm going to insert it into a pivot table in a new worksheet. So what we're analyzing is the number of brands per year. So what brand had the highest Super Bowl advert in the 21 years of commercials? So I'm changing the year into count so that it counts each brand, not summing it up. So consider Bud Light has had 62 adverts in 21 years, and Toyota has had the least. It has had 12 adverts, commercial adverts in 21 years of Super Bowl. So which brand, the second leg of the question is, do they have a distinct style? So since Bud Light had the highest, so we want to see the style of Bud Light. So I'm just going to type Bud Light. Advert style. Make it a bit bold. So we know, going by the headers, we know that these are the, sorry. Okay, sorry, I've not named this. Let me name this brand count by year. And I'll name this the worksheet. Okay. So funny, show products quickly, patriotic, celebrity, danger, animals, user sets, length, estimated cost. These are the styles of the brand's adverts. So we're going to be looking at Bud Light and seeing how they advertise their products. I'm going to type the various column headers here. Celebrity. So next, we would go back to our worksheets and filter out other brands, leaving only Bud Light. So right now, all the information we have here concern Bud Light. So I want to count how many, if the adverts are funny, if they show their products quickly when the advert starts, and all the details. So I'm going to count here using reference with Excel. I'm going to count here, but the answer is going to come out here. So let's do that. So let me type, we'll start with equals to count if the criteria. Count if it's true. So we have 169. Next, we'll count if the product is shown quickly when the commercial starts. So go back. Sorry, I have to put in the so if they show their products quickly, Let me see if I drag it, will it? No, it won't. Okay. So the next one is count. Just do this. Count if. We're counting if they use animals. Or counting if they're patriotic. Yes, patriotic. That's if they use any patriotic undertones in the advert. Okay, so this is for if they use any patriotic. Let me cut this and put it here. I didn't follow. So next is celebrities, if they use any celebrities. Go back. So we're counting if they use, start with the equals sign to let Excel know that we're starting the formula. What happened? Okay, I use the full stop instead of comma. Yeah. What's the next one? Danger. So if there's any violence in while shooting the adverts or in the adverts. Next we have animals. So we're going to count if they use count if. And we use of sex. Okay, for the length of this, I'm going to use the mode. And now mode is the most frequently occurring number in a set. And because this data is small data, we can just eyeball it and we can see that 30 seconds is the length of most adverts used by Bud Light. So I'm just going to impute 30 seconds here. To increase this a bit. And the budgets. Estimated cost, we can see. Okay, so for the estimated cost, I'm going to calculate an average. Let's see, average, return average arithmetic mean of its arguments, numbers, arrays. Okay, so we're going to use this average of the estimated cost. Okay, 5.1. So that is $5.1 million. Okay, so right now this should be in percentage. That's the funny, these styles. I want it in percentage so that I have a better understanding of you have a better understanding of the analysis conducted. So go back to this cell. So to calculate, to put this in percentages, I'm going to put this in percentages. So close to this over the total rows. I hope this works. Let me see. Okay, I think I should have done this. So I want to lock this so that I can easily drag and perform the same analysis on the other cells. So it did work. Yes, so we have it in percentages. So 68% of Bud Light adverts are funny. 66% of their adverts show their products very first seconds of the adverts, and they don't use animals. And they don't use any form of danger. They don't use celebrities, and they don't use sex, or their adverts are not really patriotic. So this is the style for Bud Light. So how have the different characteristics of, that's the next question now, is how, let's check it. How have different characteristics of commercials trended across time? Let's go back to our set. Okay, I'm just going to clear this filter so that we get to see the whole data set. So how has it trended across time? Okay, so to find out how the different styles have trended across time, or the different characteristics of an advert, a commercial has trended across time, we would have to analyze this funny, shows product quickly, patriotic, celebrity, and so on. So I'm going to analyze the funny column against the patriotic column. I'm going to use a pivot table for this. So we're putting this data set into a pivot table. So insert it into a pivot table. So first of all, I'm going to analyze the year and funny. I'm changing this to counts. Okay. I'm removing the grand total, and I want these values to show as percentages. Yes. So I want them to show as percentages. So we can see that in 2000, the all commercials were funny, and in 2001, 23% of the commercials were not funny, while 76 were funny. And in 2002, 20% of the commercials were not funny, while 80 were funny. Let me reduce the okay. So I just want to reduce the decimal places. Okay, this is much better. So I said I'm going to do an analysis between funny and patriotic. So I'm going back to the data set and existing the location now, because I want it in the same sheet. So the location, okay. So I'm going for year in rows and patriotic in values and patriotic in columns too. So I'm removing the grand total, and I want these values in percentages. I get that counts. Okay. So I'm just going to reduce the decimal places. This is much better. So here we can see that in 2000, the adverts were not patriotic. And in 2001, only 8% were patriotic. 2002, 10%. Let me see. The highest was 2017. I wonder what was happening then. So 60% of the adverts were patriotic. So I think we have an idea of how patriotic and funny adverts have trended over time in the data set. So let me rename this to adverts across time. Across time. Then can you identify any patterns for the most successful commercials on YouTube? So let's go back to our data sets. And so most successful commercials on YouTube, that is, so we should look at it based on how many likes. Should we look at it based on likes? Let's see, based on YouTube views or based on YouTube likes. So I'm going to analyze this, look at it in two ways, based on YouTube views and based on YouTube likes, and see if there's any difference. So to find the top 10 YouTube successful commercials, I'm going to filter this data based on the YouTube views. So I'm going to this arrow or to this drop down. Should I go here? Okay, down to number filters, top 10. Show top 10 items. Okay. So I have it here. So I'm just going to copy this because I want this in a separate sheet. Yes, have it in the sheets. Okay, so go back. Oh, I've undone. Okay, so we'll have this in a separate sheet, and we're going to, okay, let me expand this. And filter this. Okay, I'm going to sort it by YouTube views from the largest to the, expand the selection, continue with the, expand the selection. So I think we have Doritos as, yes, we have Doritos as the most viewed and top performing brand. So what makes them special? So what I'm going to do is count every column here. So I want to see how many of these adverts are funny, how many of these adverts are show their products quickly, and the rest. So to find out the details, how many of these commercials use a certain style, we're going to count each column. So we're going to use our count ifs again. Let me expand this column. I can expand it. Okay. Let me see if I can go out of this table form. Okay, I think we'll just do it without that. Okay, now I can expand it. Okay, so let's use our count ifs. Count ifs. This range is true. So I think I will just lock this in. Let me see if I lock this in. What's happening? Okay. What did I do there? Okay, so let me see if I drag it so I don't have to start typing the formula over and over. Will it work? Yes, it did. So then I think I'll just find the average of this and the cost of this. So the average length of this and the cost of this column. So we'll have an idea of how these commercials run. Average. So 77 seconds. Like that. So 7 seconds, that's the average length of the commercial. Then the estimated cost is the average estimated cost. Oh, 12.5 million. I think that's a bit. Okay, 12.5 million. Okay. 12.5 million. So we've answered this. We know that most commercials are very funny because this is the top 10. So there are 10 brands, and 6 out of the 10 brands go for funny commercials. They show their products very early on in the adverts. They don't send patriotic messages, and some use is a bit half and half when it comes to the usage of celebrities, and there's a lot of violence in most adverts, and it's half and half if they use animals, but they do not use any sexual innuendos in their adverts. So I think this answers that question. So I'm just going to type rename this sheet as successful companies. Okay. So the last question is, what characteristics are paired most often? And can you find any unusual combination? So, okay, I'll just look for the characteristics. That's the style. I'm going to look for the styles that are usually used in an advert. This is my original worksheet. I still have it on filter, so I'm going to clear the filter to get it back to the original state. So what I'm going to do here, since I'm trying to find a pattern, I'm going to use conditional formatting with colors so that I just get a sense of what this data is telling me immediately. So conditional formatting of, I'm going to use conditional formatting from here to here, user 6. Click conditional formatting. So I want to format based on colors. Doing okay, new rule or manage rule. Okay, let me go for the new rule. New rule, set a new rule. Format only cells that contain, okay, so I'm going to go here, cell value with okay, so I want to format cells that contain a specific text containing, so it contains true. True should be the specific text. And how do I want it formatted? I want to fill it with a bright yellow. Okay. So let's see if this works. Yes, it does. So I'll just zoom out so that we get to see if there's a pattern. And I can see one forming here. Can notice that this is the funny, it's a bit small, that's A, B, C. This C is the funny, if the commercial has a funny content. And D is if the commercial shows the product immediately. So you can see that this whole side has a block of yellow. And that shows that there's a pattern. So most funny commercials show their content within the first few seconds of the commercial. So you can see it just goes on and on. There's a huge, we still have blocks of yellow here, but it's not as consistent as this two. So that answers this question. Let me zoom back in. If there is the characteristics of styles that are paired together. So let me see. Combination. Let's see. Yeah. So I think that does it. So next up, we're going to visualize this data. because you won't understand it in this form. Most of the time, you're going to be presenting to your manager or your stakeholder. You can't be presenting numbers and figures. You have to make it pretty, make it understandable, tell a story with what you have done. So in my next video, I'll be doing that. Thank you very much. I hope you followed along. Please like, share, and subscribe, and come on back for the next video. Thank you.